50 years, and for Kiss, a ridiculous marketing gimmick. You gotta be really pulling for the bottom of the barrel ideas if you're gonna top the worst ones that you've already done.
You can buy a coffin. You can buy a coffin with
Kiss condoms. I mean, when it came down to marketing, you could get anything Kiss bumper. I had the lunch license
box.
plate frames.
I had the lunch box.
Toothbrushes, anything that you could put a name or a label on. You're gonna be able to buy it with Kiss's logo.
Kiss Army forever.
Yeah, all about the Kiss Army. It's hilarious. The band mixed vials of their own blood into the red ink used to color the blood for the first issue of Marvel's Kiss comic series. Why it grosses us out? Kiss isn't exactly the model of sexual restraint. Their blood would probably be more valuable at a clinic documenting the evolution of various strands of STDs since the 70s, and less valuable staining our fingertips. We'll stick with our white snake coloring book, thank you very much. No one does zany, goofy, ultimately innocuous horror like Kiss, and what better manifestation of that than mixing their blood with comic book ink? Yes, they're bleeding, but at some point the blood is going to be mixed with the palm sweat of 1,000 chubby 16-year-olds as they read about Ace and Jean battling space pirates with their righteous riffs. Really, the only way this can be considered hardcore is if you assume, as we do, what the blood was not extracted by a needle, but rather sopped up from the floor after the guys rolled in bacon fat and waded through a trough of alligators. But is it? Absolutely. Kiss flew to Marvel's inking facility in between tour stops and dumped vials of blood into the red ink vat. Not only is there a picture of it happening, but it was witnessed by a notary public and subject to a signed contract. Comic fans are apparently very particular about the validity of their blood-infused inks. You can now rest assured that if you see someone licking a Kiss comic, they are either a vampire or a huge freak.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The only thing to the extreme other than Kiss are Kiss fans. The one thing that always bugged me about Kiss is it was a number of years before I saw their image. And when you listen to them and then you see them, talk about a contrast. You know, their look and their sound are like polar opposites.
Yeah.
They're like groovy, happy, like snappy, kind of like happy-go-lucky, like upbeat kind of music.
Right.
And then when you see them, they're like spikes and black leather and blood and face paint, and there's more heavy metal music that would correspond with that look than they've got.
Right.
And if you do that, you're biting Kiss.
Right.
You know, and I don't know.
They were actually my very first concert that I went to, Kiss and Wasp. It was 1986. I can't remember the exact date, but I actually went to go see him with my older brother. It's the first time I ate shrooms. And I was 15. And my brother because we're in a crowd where we're like 12 or 15 of us, and my brother says, "Hey, this is my little brother. This is his first concert, man. You feed him all the weed he wants. Don't let him drink. And nobody give him anything other than weed." And as he's saying that, his friend Richard Wagenhofer, shout out to Richard Wagenhofer from my first shroom trip, he's leaning over me like this, and he's going, "Nah, he's not gonna eat nothing. He's not gonna," and he's shoving this shit in my mouth. And I'm fucking chewing, and I've got this nasty taste. He's like, "Just chew, just wash it down with this." And I'm drinking my beer, and maybe 20 minutes into the show, everything went white. And I don't really remember the show.
Yeah.
I do remember being out in the parking lot after the show. Like, people are like driving by, and I'm just screaming my brother's name. "Johnny! Johnny!" And other people are like trying to help me. "Has anybody seen Johnny? Anybody seen Johnny?" And there's like 4 cars left in the parking lot after everybody's left. And finally my brother rolls up and goes, "Where the hell have you been, man?"
I'm trying to find the rabbit hole.
But that was my first introduction to shrooms, and it just happened to be at a Kiss concert. And it's so funny how you say about the whole, because they're like this disco thing, right? And but I remember like one part.
But it's like Pee Wee Herman delivering Sam Kinnison's routine. Like,
yeah. But I remember this is when I realized that, and I was just a kid at the time. You know, I had the Kiss lunchbox, and I had the little Kiss dolls. You know, and action figures, not dolls, action figures. I want to say, I can't remember what year it was, but I remember when they came out with "I Was Meant for Loving You, Baby," and right, and it was like disco, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was like, nah, I'm done with these guys, man. And then when they took their makeup off on MTV, again, MTV, the big breaker story of things, right? They were some ugly motherfuckers, man. They should have kept the fucking makeup on, man. I think that was one of the best decisions they ever made, is when they put the fucking makeup back on when they went out on fucking tour, man. I don't want to see that fucking face, man. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of these guys with amazing talent and passion and drive to do the work they do, you didn't spend much time making themselves look handsome and attractive.
Well, it wasn't until what is that, 83? I think 1983 was the year that Motley Crue came out with "Shout at the Devil," and that's when they started doing. They're trying to do the heavy metal with the spikes and the chains and everything black and red, you know, and they're doing Helter Skelter and Bastard, you know, and then their very next fucking album they come out with is Theater of Pain, and they look like fucking broads, man.
Yeah.
The same thing with Poison. Look what the Cat dragged in. I was like, damn,
it's all marketing. Yeah. It's just somebody sitting at a desk.
And again, that's what, and we talked about this our very first show we did, and we talked about that with Christian Agrajo, how grunge came in and fucking stomped on that whole, you know, and that's what it needed at the time. I think that's what was necessary. Anyway, here we go. I don't know if anybody remembers the song "Inagata de Vida." That was a famous song
made famous by The Simpsons.
No.
I'm kidding. It was famous before that. Bart Simpson just did that scene in The Simpsons where he changed the pew music to "Inagata de Vida," and the organ lady, he put the script of the music.
Right. Anyway,
he put that in front of the organ music, so when everybody came in on Sunday morning, everybody started singing that. You never saw that Simpsons? No, I wasn't a big fan of The Simpsons. And they're like one of the longest running shows there is out there. So that's great.
What are they, like 20 seasons now? Probably more.
Probably.
Iron Butterfly was they were recording Inagata de Vida, and legend has it that during the recording of the song, the singer was so fucked up, he was singing Inagata de Vida when in fact the original verse was in the Garden of Eden. So how fucked up do you have to be?
I don't buy that.
No, it's yeah. It's like I got that out of I want to say Circus. It sounds plausible. Not to say that I believe it's true. You can think about it. How fucked up do you have to be to say "Inagata de Vida" and "In a Garden of Eden"?
Oh, I buy it.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You think they would have did a remake? Or
it sounded so. That was one of the things. It sounded so good and so.
I don't think anybody's remade that song.
So no.
Well, here's a story about Mick Jagger. Mick the Rooster Jagger. Did you know he was called the Rooster?
No, I did not.
I did not either.
But after seeing him on stage in concert, I could see why they call him that.
Really?
Yeah, he does that fucking.
Oh yeah, yeah, huh? Mick the Rooster Jagger was caught during a drug bust eating a Mars bar from between the legs of Marianne Faithfull, as well as nude in bed with effeminate rocker David Bowie. And he was caught by Bowie's wife, no less. We like our rockers like we like our parents, androgynous and sex-crazed. Jagger eating a candy bar out of someone's cooch is all right, but ultimately, just another entry in the pantheon of rockers have so much sex, they get bored with it and do crazy shit stories. Add in some Bowie humping, though, and you've got rock legend magic. The only thing that could make it better would be if Prince had filmed the whole thing and the tape leaked to the internet revealing Bowie in full makeup and demanding to be called Major Tom. We can dream, can't we? In a happy twist of fate for lovers of bizarre celebrity behavior, the Mars bar bit is a definite no. But the Bowie banging may actually have some truth to it. Police did bust in on Jagger and Faithfull looking for drugs, but reported no sexual activity other than the fact that Faithfull was naked except for a large blanket. By rock standards, she might as well have been in a burqa. As for the latter incident, Bowie's wife detailed it on an episode of Joan Rivers' radio show, but later claimed that the men weren't having sex, just nude in bed, which, is totally normal.
There was a story out back when they said that when Keith Richards, his father died, he took his ashes and snorted them up with some
That's
cocaine.
not true.
He later dispelled it on one of these talk shows, but for a while it was out there for a minute.
I was going to read that one, but I read that it wasn't true. In the early 90s, Sinead O'Connor scored a massive hit with her cover of the Prince penned "Nothing Compares to You." I didn't know Prince wrote that song.
I didn't either.
In the early 90s, Sinead O'Connor scored a massive hit with her cover of the Prince penned "Nothing Compares to You." His Purpleness was less than thrilled with her decision to cover the song, since he was already planning to give it to a female protege of his, perhaps in exchange for a series of unthinkable sex acts. When he met with Sinead to discuss the situation, things got a bit out of hand. And by out of hand, we mean they got in a goddamn fistfight. It started with Prince berating the Shorn Lock singer for, of all things, cursing in interviews. She replied with a diplomatic and sympathetic, "Go fuck yourself." At that point, O'Connor claims Prince became physically threatening, or at least to the extent Prince can physically threaten anyone.
Have you seen that? And I know you've seen that. You had to have seen it. The Dave Chappelle episode where he's playing basketball.
Yeah. No, I haven't, but I've heard so many people tell me.
Dude, he's like,
not even touching the ground.
Yeah. So you can imagine him picking a fight with that broad, man. That's just hilarious, man. Oh my God.
He weighs like not even a buck.
Yeah.
And he's the most effeminate dude you can think of.
Oh my God.
That's one thing I don't get about Prince is everybody's like, "Oh, Prince, he's badass. He's a legend. He's amazing. He's a poet." Okay, I'll give him credit. He's got a lot of artistry in his music. To be such a sexual icon,
yeah.
I mean, really? I mean, that's like David Bowie being this humongous sexual icon for women. I mean, the dude's practically a woman.
I watched an interview with Lemmy from Motorhead, and he said he was invited. Someone invited him to go see a show of Prince, and he says, "Why would I want to do that?" And they said, "Why you don't want to go see him?" He goes, "No, I've already seen a black guy in with a beret on his head." And they said, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, I've seen Jimi Hendrix already." So to him, that's the way he looked at it. He kind of, I guess he sees him as just, because Jimi Hendrix was like the forefather of that,
right.
The whole black thing, and then he was
right.
Legend has it that he used to fucking put acid in his headbands, and he'd get up on stage and and he's doing the national anthem and stuff, and so
light his guitar on fire.
Yeah, and so I guess when you see Prince, not to say that he's not good at what he does, but he's something else, man. He's something else. For those of you listeners who don't know, I'm a avid Black Sabbath fan and a Ozzy fanatic. So this story for me, this rings true. Well, let me backtrack a little bit, and I'll try and make the story as quick as possible. I was like 12 years old. I think I was in 6th grade, and it was my first time I fell in love with a girl, and her name was Crystal. Basically, she broke up with me to go out with one of my best friend's older brothers, and I'm crying and bawling and sobbing. I'm gonna fucking kill myself. I can't stand love. Blah. And so I'm in my bedroom, and at this time I'm sharing a bedroom with my uncle and my brother, and my brother comes in. And he has this this elaborate collection of his albums, of all heavy metal, and I'm not allowed to touch anything, because I'm dumb shit. So he walks in the room in the true form. He says, "What's up, dumb shit?" And I'm like, "Oh, this girl broke up with me. She broke my heart." And he says, "Shut the fuck up, man. Here, I just got this new fucking album. Check this shit out." So he puts on, it was "Speak of the Devil," and it was the first album. It was the first tour of Ozzy after he had been kicked out of Black Sabbath. And so he puts on the first song is fucking "Symptom of the Universe," and fucking I'm fucking gripped by it, and then it goes on, and then he says, "Oh, that's nothing, man." He flips it over because we're listening to 33s back then, albums, So he flips it over, and he puts it on, and NLB comes on, and then they do the original Black Sabbath comes on, And then he says, "This is the last song that I ever wrote with Black Sabbath."